The 10 hidden criteria men use to select a woman. If you want to discover what goes on inside of a man's heart and mind when he's deciding if you're the one, if you're the woman he wants to spend the rest of his life with, that he wants to commit to, he wants to prioritize, and ultimately he wants to make you happy, so that you can avoid sending off signals, doing the type of behaviors or saying the type of words that will subtly push a man away, make him lose interest and pull back, then this is going to help you immensely. I'm Brody Boyd with Magnetize Your Man, and for over 20 years combined with my wife, Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship with a man they desire. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the 10th criteria that a man uses to select a woman is the ability to be her protector, provider, hero. Now, what this means is a man wants to feel needed. If he doesn't feel that he can protect you, that he can provide for you, that he can be your hero because you've already got those things handled, that there's no space for him to fill, then why would he fill it? Why would he be there? There's no purpose for him. Men feel happiness differently. They need to feel a sense of purpose and mission in their life in order to be happy. And the good news is you can provide that for him by giving him the ability to feel needed, letting him help you with things, letting him see the vulnerability, letting him see the ways that he can make you happy, that he can provide for you and be appreciated for that, admired for that, and even respected for that, then that's going to go a long way to making him see you as the one. The 9th criteria a man uses to select a woman, ninth, is that she is not behaving like a man. Masculine energy is the opposite of feminine energy. Everything that's feminine is the opposite of masculine energy. So if a man sees you as another man, there's not going to be any polarity there. If he sees you as a buddy, as a friend, as a colleague, he's not going to be interested from a romantic sense. He's not going to see that as a long-term romantic potential because you're like him. You're like the two magnets that are neutralized, that don't have any magnetic pull because they've been depolarized. They've been rubbed together for too long, and now there's nothing there. You have to recreate this energy of magnetic feminine energy and start behaving from your feminine core with him, activating your feminine core. Now, this isn't about changing who you are. It's about bringing out those natural feminine instincts that lie within. Every woman has a feminine core at her center. Every man has a masculine core at his center. So when you start activating your feminine core and opening your heart to be available, vulnerable, feeling all the ways that you are a woman and not a man, what would it look like if you knew in all levels that you were a woman, that you dress like a woman, that you speak like a woman, you behave like a woman, rather than trying to be the opposite, behaving like a man, behaving like his buddy, dressing like a man, dressing like his buddy, and that kills that magnetic force, the law of polarity, which states that opposite energies attract. If he sees you as the same energy as him, as he feels that same energy within you as he has within himself, he's going to lose interest and attraction pretty quickly. The 8th hidden criteria that a man uses to select a woman is that you do not treat him like a child. Anytime you are treating like a man like a child, you are in mothering energy. A mother is not necessarily attractive to her son. Hopefully not. A man is not going to feel a strong sexual passion towards his mother. I mean, Freud would say differently, but there's not going to be typically a strong level of attraction and chemistry and passion that's created if you treat a man like he's your child, by doing things for him, by trying to meet his needs, trying to make him happy, trying to provide for him, give him things, give him gifts, do everything for him, lead the relationship forward, make decisions for him, try to be his mommy, his therapist even. That's not going to create strong attraction, interest, chemistry, and polarity long term. So stop that. Stop treating him like a child and start to see within him the strong, powerful, masculine man that exists, because again, every man has a masculine core at his center, and unless he's a deeply broken man and he has deep traumas and wounds like a narcissist, a sociopath, a deeply avoidant attachment style, then he's going to be activated within his masculine core when you start treating him like an empowered, respectable man. Sometimes you have to show him unconditional respect in order to get that unconditional love back. Now, before we go into our next points, if you haven't yet, I highly recommend taking our free Magnetize Your Man quiz to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship with a man you want fast, and customize all this information for yourself. Get the advanced principles of what to do specifically in your situation to attract the man you want to you, even if he's broken up with you, even if he hates you. It's very powerful once you learn these principles, which you will get by taking the free quiz, clicking the link in the description or the comments below, or you can also go to our website, magnetizeyourman.com, to get that for free right now in those customized recommendations. Now, the next hidden criteria, number 7, that a man will use to select a woman is being able to communicate her needs in a feminine way. So every woman has needs, every person has needs. And it's a beautiful thing that you have needs, because that gives him the opportunity to be your hero, protector, provider that we were talking about before, where he can actually help meet your needs and feel valued, feel valuable, that he is offering some service to the world, that he has a meaning and a purpose in his life. Now, the key is, how do you communicate those needs? If you're communicating those needs in a disrespectful way, by telling him what to do, trying to lead him, trying to control him, trying to pull him on a string and manipulate him, that's going to feel bad to him, and he's not going to want to meet your needs. He's going to feel either like a child that we talked about before, or that you simply don't respect him and you're basically commanding him to meet your needs. You're commanding him to change, which will only make him pull away more and resist you more. So instead, you want to share your needs vulnerably with an open heart using magnetic feminine communication that we'll teach you. And we teach our clients in our advanced courses and how to actually script out the language to use specifically with him. How do you communicate your needs in a way that draws him in through your feminine energy? It's much different than masculine communication, which is telling him what to do and criticizing, blaming, nagging, etc. Again, we'll push him away. But when you can express your heart, when you can express your feelings and pause in the right moments, allow him to understand what you need, to show respect for his time, to show respect for his resources, his ability to care for you, then he's going to want to give those things to you. He's going to voluntarily be inspired to want to give those to you, because his masculine energy is getting activated to do that, rather than feeling like you're pulling him or you're pushing him to get him to meet those needs for you. Now, the 6th hidden criteria that men use to select a woman that's very powerful is being teachable and leadable. Now, a man will get frustrated in a relationship where he feels that he can't really lead, that if he makes suggestions to you, or if he's guiding you in your relationship, if he's making decisions and you're constantly resisting him or criticizing his abilities or making fun of them or shaming him in different ways or ignoring him, then he's going to be like, why am I here? I can't really dance with you. Think of relationships as a partner dance. In a partner dance, the masculine is leading the feminine. He's even teaching her, like in a dance class, he's showing her where he wants to move her, how he wants to twirl her, how he wants to dip her for his pleasure and for her pleasure, which is what a good lead will do. He's looking out for you. He's making sure you don't bump into walls. He's making sure you're having a good time. He's making sure that he's leading in a way where you clearly understand what he's trying to do, where he's trying to take you. And he takes you there on his magic carpet ride so that you can see a whole new world together. Now, that involves being teachable and leadable, meaning you're open and receptive to his leadership as a man, that you trust him. Do you trust me? The answer would be yes, when he's leading properly, that you show him that trust, you show him that respect, and you follow him on that journey, on that destination, wherever that destination is that he wants to take you. So being open and receptive to his leadership is going to be a big key to help him to see that this could be a partnership, this can be a relationship where he can actually be in his masculine core, that you are in your feminine core, and most importantly, that you enjoy it and you receive his leadership with appreciation. That's going to make him feel really good and feel like this is a long-term potential here. I got to take this seriously. This is a quality woman that I found who values herself, and she also values what I'm bringing to the table with my leadership. Now, the 5th hidden criteria that a man uses to select a woman is that she's not overly logical. Anytime you are thinking too much, you are overly analyzing, logifying things, that is masculine energy. Now, we all have some parts of us that are masculine, some parts of us that are feminine. However, owning your feminine core will help you to express more of the feminine energy that is magnetic to a masculine man in particular. And that involves moving from your logical mind into your heart, into your body, into your womb, into your sensations that you are feeling, so that you can communicate to him from that place. You can interact with him in a way that's open and feminine and available and magnetic, that allows him to then be inspired into his masculine, where now he's the problem solver. He's wanting to fix things for you. He's wanting to analyze the situation, and you can just relax and simply let him do his job, fix the problem, and appreciate him when he does. Or if he's not doing a good job, if he's not coming up with great solutions, if he's not fixing the problem, to share your feelings about that, communicate using magnetic feminine communication, again, that will teach you, so that he understands what to do properly to make you happy. And he gets better at becoming a problem solver, at becoming a masculine man in the relationship, helping you to become happy in all the different ways that you will be happy once your needs are met and your desires are met and that the problems are solved. So move from the head into the heart. That's a huge piece of feminine energy. The next component, the fourth criteria that a man uses to select a woman, is that she trusts and respects him. It goes along with a lot of what we mentioned already, but showing him that you trust and respect him is like a man showing you that he cares and loves and adores you unconditionally. That's the same feeling that it generates within a man when you unconditionally trust and respect him. He'll feel that he wants to reciprocate from the masculine way of reciprocating that, which would be to love and adore you and cherish you. So you have to show him that trust and respect, because that's the deepest desire of the masculine, so that he can meet your deepest desires from the feminine. And so there's many different ways you can show him that. We talked about some of them already. Trusting his leadership, saying things to him like, I trust you. I know that you can handle this. I know that you got this. I believe in you. Whatever you decide is good with me. I trust you'll make the right decision. I respect you. I respect your decision. I respect you as a man. I respect your leadership even. So there's different phrases like that that you can say that can show a man with your language that you trust and respect him. But it's even more important that you actually show that with your actions, by not challenging him unless you really feel that he's not leading you well, giving him space to make mistakes, and trust that when he does make mistakes, he's going to learn from them and he's not going to want to do them again. Now, if a man is doing mistakes consistently, that's when you want to use our Magnetize Your Man 90-day challenge. So the 90-day challenge is going to help you give space where you're learning these principles, you're learning these actions, exactly what to do. You give space to him to actually learn how to step into his masculine, which he will, because when you're fully embodying your feminine and the advanced principles will teach you, he's going to be activated through the law of polarity to be in his healthy masculine. But it may take some time. It may take some days, some weeks, potentially months for him to really step into his role in the healthy masculine in your relationship, showing care and devotion for you. So you want to give him that space, but it starts with you shifting your energy. Say, if I want to be unconditionally loved and adored, I'm going to start showing him unconditional trust and respect for a time. I'm going to watch his actions, and if he starts shifting, that's going to be beautiful, and that's going to be the start of a great, amazing relationship, which is likely what's going to happen. But if he doesn't start shifting, if he's a broken man, or he simply doesn't care about you enough, he may not shift. He may stay where he's at. He may stay being in his little boy energy or his feminine energy. And in that case, you need to be willing to move on, which is why we have the 90-day challenge. You set a date with it, and if he hasn't reached that benchmark by that date, when you use everything we'll teach you, then it's time. You have to respect yourself, you have to value yourself, and be willing to walk away, which ultimately holds your value as a woman. Now, the third criteria that men use to select a woman is that she's not entitled. So men do want to, at their core, if they're connected to their masculine instinct, which most men will connect to their masculine instinct, especially when they meet a very feminine woman, they want to give to you, they want to provide for you, they want to protect you, and they want to be your hero, because that's going to give them a sense of meaning if they have any level of care for you or interest in you or attraction to you. Now, the key with this is that will all stop if they feel that you're entitled to their leadership and their provision and their protection, etc. So you can't be entitled to a man's gifts, or else he's not going to want to give them anymore. And I believe that men have a very strong rebel instinct. I think we all do as humans. But if a man starts to feel that a woman is feeling entitled to his provision, he's going to want to stop giving that to him until that shifts, until she starts showing appreciation for his provision and respect even for his provision and his gifts. Then he'll start to feel valued, and he'll start to feel like, wow, I really want to give to her because she's not expecting this from me. She's not believing that I owe this to her. She's instead appreciating it when I do these things for her. That makes me want to do it more. I feel like she values it. So what are some of the ways that women show entitlement to a man's provision? Well, that would be things like penetrating him energetically, crossing his boundaries, telling him what to do, saying things like, why didn't you grab this thing for me? You know that I need this. Or can't you just stop behaving like that? Like, why are you not giving me what I want? I'm using vague language here, but the idea is you're basically blaming him for giving you something that really he doesn't owe you, unless he's agreed to giving you those things. That's different. But if it's just an expectation or an assumption that he's going to be giving those things to you, that can cause issues in the relationship. So the antidote for that is to ask permission, is to ask respectfully, using your feminine communication, using feminine energy for what you want. And if you're clear about what you want and you ask respectfully and not cross his boundaries, give him the space to say, yes, I want to give this to you. For example, when you ask him for a phone call, can I ask for a phone call? That's an easy way for him to be able to say yes and call you or give you a time when he's available to talk, without you just penetrating him and just calling him when he's not available to talk because he has other things going on, or he simply doesn't want to talk at that time. That's going to push him away, because now it's showing that you feel entitled to his time and attention. And so it's a big shift. It's moving from demanding things from a man, expecting things from a man, to instead being open to receive and appreciating when a man is doing those things, which makes him want to do it more. We go much more into the details on this in our courses, in our coaching, but that's a big piece that'll energetically start drawing a man to you. Now, the second criteria that men use when selecting a woman is that you appreciate men in general. Now, when a woman doesn't appreciate men as a species, as a gender, it's very apparent to the men around her. It's very apparent when a woman is holding resentment towards men and she's projecting onto new men that she meets her resentment towards her ex, towards her father, towards men in general, that it comes across in her energetic field to a man. That is a energy of being closed off. It's a spiky energy. It can come across as being quote unquote bitchy or angry or scowling. That's why they sometimes say women have resting bitch face. I'm sure there's a phrase for that for men as well. But the idea is it's typically coming across from women who've had something bad happen to them in the past, or have simply been buying into lies from other friends and family that all men are cheaters, all men are assholes, all men are going to abuse you, or they just want sex, or they don't care about your heart or your feelings. And now when you actually come into contact with quality men, they're feeling this closed off energy from you, this resentment towards men, and they don't want to engage. It causes them to lose that even noticing you. Even the energetic attraction is dissipated by that. And so the cure for that, the antidote, is to find the examples in your life and in the world of men you appreciate, of actions from men you appreciate, things that they've built, they've invented, they've created, music from men that you enjoy, stories you've enjoyed, books, etc. Find things that you can appreciate, especially for the men in your life. So I'm using broad examples, but you can also look for where were times in your life where men were showing care for you, they were protecting you, they were giving to you, wanting to make you happy. And the more of those examples you can find, the more you will create that in your life. You will start to put out an energy of appreciation and receptivity that quality men will notice, and they will want to continue to give you more things to be appreciative for from them. And it's one of the big criteria that men look for when they're even in the initial dating stages of a woman is, does he feel energetically appreciated by you, or does he feel that there's a baseline of resentment that you're coming to the table with that you might not even be aware of, that's causing him to feel unappreciated or even rejected and not wanting to come any closer for fear of getting further rejected or potentially emotionally crushed by you. So it's a big piece. Now, the first Hidden criteria that men use to select a woman is, does she prioritize her own needs? It's very important that you are prioritizing your own needs, because that's one of the biggest things that shows that you are a high value woman. You are a woman who values herself by investing into herself, by looking out for herself, and believing that she deserves to have the love, care, and attention of a man. And that you deserve to have your needs met, that you are worthy of having your needs met, so that you're okay with speaking up about those needs, like we talked about earlier, sharing your desires from your heart in a respectful way that draws him closer, that makes him actually want to give you those needs, that makes him want to solve those problems, want to make you happy. So you do have to prioritize your own needs rather than prioritizing his needs, wondering too much about what he needs or what he's thinking or what his desires are, which is all masculine energy. That's you moving into mothering energy. That's you moving into therapist energy or buddy energy or man energy, where now you're trying to protect and provide and be his hero, which is the reverse polarity. So we have to switch that around to where you start focusing more on yourself, which is feminine energy, self-focus, self-awareness, self-inquiry, mostly listening to your own body, to your heart, to your desires, to the sensations that you feel, and being able to communicate those things in a way that inspires him to want to give those to you and makes him actually value you much more, because he says to himself, wow, this is a woman who really values herself. This is a woman who respects herself. I want to make her happy too. I want to make her the happiest woman in the world, because she also wants to make herself the happiest woman in the world. So hope that was helpful. Again, if you haven't yet, highly recommend taking our free quiz. I'm going to answer some questions here in just a bit, but also recommend taking our free quiz to get a loving, long-term committed relationship with a man you want, to master these principles, take it to the next level where you can actually get this all scripted and customized for you with a specific man that you may be dealing with, a specific relationship, or help you get your whole love life in order. We're going to really help you with that. It starts with taking the free quiz that you can click on in the link of the description or the comments below, or going to our website, magnetizeyourman.com. So now if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them now. I'll try to get through as many of them as I can while we're here, and see how I can help you potentially with a specific situation you have in your life. So a lot of people said hi, got some hearts here, lots of hearts, true. Janet, hit the like. Yes, hit the like, everybody. I would appreciate that. I would like that. So Mary said, I'm dating someone who is hyper masculine and directly wants me to succumb to these standards. So I'm listening. I don't know if I like that word succumb, because you never want to simply submit to what a man wants for you, because that would actually be compliance. Compliance is when you follow a man's leadership, even if it doesn't feel good for you. The key is when a man is leading well, you want to submit. You submit because it feels good to you. Now, sometimes you have to go first. Like I said before, with unconditional trust and respect, that you need to submit first. You need to open up your heart first, be vulnerable first, follow his lead, so that he actually can be inspired into his healthy masculine and want to lead you well and want to make you happy, because now you're no longer resisting him. You're no longer in masculine energy. You're no longer challenging him constantly or trying to compete with him. And so that can be a good place to start. Now, watch the signs. Watch to make sure you are with a healthy man, because if a man is broken, he may take advantage of that. He may not treat you well, even when you are completely in your feminine energy. So you have to use the 90-day challenge that we'll give you, so that you can test the waters in the beginning and see how he actually responds to you being fully in your feminine energy and showing him that unconditional trust and respect and healthy submission. And then if he's leading you to do things that you don't want to do, so if he's saying, go make me a sandwich, and you don't want to make him a sandwich, maybe it feels good to you, then by all means do it, because that's going to make him happy, and that's going to probably make you happy also, to follow his lead and have a relationship where he can lead and you can follow. Again, assuming that it feels good to you. I'm just using that as an extreme example. If it doesn't feel good to you, then you need to use magnetic feminine communication. Maybe it doesn't feel good because he's been telling you a lot of what to do and he's not giving a lot back. So in general, you want to look at your whole relationship and see in general, in your relationship with him, are you giving more or is he giving more? Because if you're giving more, that means you're actually in the masculine role. Masculine energy is about giving, feminine energy is about receiving. So you look at the relationship as a whole, and if he's constantly leading you to do things and give him things, but he's not giving a lot back to you, it's out of balance. You need to have a conversation about that, because the polarity's been reversed, and ultimately the attraction, chemistry, and passion is going to die on both of your ends if that's not addressed. So you need to address it. You need to have a meta conversation about your relationship using magnetic feminine communication. And we have a lot of great scripts for that we give our clients, how to have these deeper conversations so that he understands how you feel about the dynamic by sharing your feelings openly, using I feel statements, asking permission, pausing. There's a lot of components that go into it so that he can understand how you're feeling and what you actually need, so that he can adjust his behavior on his own without you having to tell him what to do. Because with feminine communication, whenever you make it about yourself, that's feminine. Whenever you're making it about him, that's masculine, because now you're trying to lead him. Now you're trying to control him. All you can ultimately control is yourself. So when you share with him, you use statements like I feel statements. I'm feeling some uncertainty. I'm feeling some anxiety. I'm feeling some confusion. I'm feeling sadness. For example, sharing your open heart with him so he can understand the impact of his actions, that he's not leading you well and he needs to shift that. Otherwise, you're gone. Ultimately, you're going to leave, because you need to be in a relationship where you feel good about it and that you feel that there's a balance of the energies. I don't like the term equality, because that can speak to depolarization of you both being like roommates, being buddies. We don't want equality. What we want is healthy polarity, where you're fully in your feminine energy and he's fully in his masculine, his healthy masculine energy. He's getting to lead you on the dance floor and you're getting to follow for your pleasure and for his pleasure. That's what's going to make a healthy, happy, loving, long-term committed relationship. So there's no succumbing to his desires. There's following his desires if it feels good to you, and if not, to speak up and share about that. And so that he can adjust his leadership so that you do enjoy it and that you do want to follow his lead, and both of you feel good about that, not rather than just one of you. Wild Blueberry said, this is brilliant. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. Glad you like it. Mount Game said, good evening. Good evening to you. Glad you're here. Glad you're tuning in, everybody. And Janet said, you're welcome. So Kara said, here's another question. Should we want to be selected? Do I need to be? It's a deep existential question I'm asking my soul. Yeah, that's a great question, Kara. It's a great inquiry. So, do you want to be selected? The key is, if you want a high-quality masculine man, especially the more high-quality a man is, the more likely he is to have options, that he's going to have women who want to be with him. Probably a lot of women who are in their masculine, they're trying to control him, they're trying to lock him down because he's a quality man, because he's a good leader, he's confident, he has a lot of resources, he is handsome potentially, a lot of different traits that you might like that other women probably like as well. So you probably want a man like that to select you, because ultimately if you have to select him, he's probably not that high quality of a man. I'm making broad generalizations here. If a man is begging to be with you and he hasn't really shown his value to you, then he's probably not really in his healthy masculine. Now, it doesn't mean that those men can't be inspired into their healthy masculine. But the idea is, ultimately, you want a man to choose you. You want him to say, this is my woman. I claim her. I want her in my life. I want to treat her well. I want to make her happy for the long term. If a man hasn't selected you, then he's probably just with you out of convenience. He's probably just with you for free sex or for some basic companionship or friendship or buddies, but he's not really seeing you as his woman, which means he hasn't selected you yet. So if you want a loving, long-term committed relationship, then yes, I would say you probably do want to be selected. You may not want to use that word if you don't like that word. You may want to say claimed. I want to be claimed by a high-quality man, or a man that I want. And now as far as the existential piece, I think what you're talking about here is a sense of worthiness. Now, I'll help you with that, because a high-value woman believes that she's worthy of being claimed. She's worthy of having a high-quality man in her life, which is more what you're probably inquiring about is, why do I have to be selective? Does that mean I'm less valuable than he is and I'm being like selected out of the bucket of all the possible options he could be? It's like, no, you're a high value woman. You are valuable inherently. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a man in your life who treats you well, that you could sleep peacefully at night, and that you know you will be selected. You believe you will be selected because you deserve to be selected. And you could change that word again. You can use claimed. But the idea is the more high value you believe you are, the more you're going to actually use a lot of the principles we're teaching here, which are feminine principles. A high value woman believes that she's worthy of a man giving to her. She's worthy of a man protecting her. She's worthy of a man leading her and even teaching her and showing her better ways of being in relationship, taking her on adventures, committing, wanting to have children with her potentially, all those different things that you may want, that you believe you're worthy of it, and that you believe you don't have to try to control a man. You don't have to try to take that from him, like we talked about being entitled, that you're worthy to even ask for those things. It can take a lot of courage to ask for something, to ask for help. And that's a huge principle of feminine energy, is to be willing and able to ask a man for help. That's about vulnerability. That's about saying, I don't have all the answers. I don't have everything that I need. There's a lot of things that I have that I want and I need, and I could do a lot myself because I'm a strong woman. I'm an empowered woman, and I would love to have a man in my life. And there's a lot of things I would enjoy not having to do for myself. I would enjoy it if you did it for me. I would enjoy it if you led things forward for me, that I don't have to constantly text you all the time or work for it, but that you're also putting in effort, that you're also giving things to me and being the hero for me, solving my problems, helping me with issues that I have, so that I don't have to do all those things for you. I don't have to be the superwoman that's the mommy and the heroine, the hero or the heroine, or the doctor, the nurse, the cook, the cleaner, etc. That you don't have to do all these roles. That there's a man can do these. There's men that are out there that'll do these things happily for you, or they will hire somebody to do them for you. But at the base level, what they want to do is they want to make you happy. They want to meet your needs, however that happens. Like with me and my wife, I'm constantly looking for ways, how can I make her life easier? It doesn't mean that I'm constantly doing a lot of these things myself, which I will step in occasionally with our kids and doing a lot around the house. But I'm also more looking for, how can I put in new systems and structures into place, or hire somebody to help us around the house or help us in our life so that she's happier. Because ultimately, I feel happier when she's happier and when she is having her needs taken care of, because then I feel like I'm doing a good job as a man. I feel valuable. I feel of service. And that makes me feel good from my masculine core. And she feels a lot better from her feminine core, knowing that I'm putting in that effort and I'm doing those things for her. And so oftentimes it's about vulnerability and actually embracing the unknown and embracing that scary feeling sometimes of like, wow, what if I were to put the armor down and that I don't need to do this all on my own, that I could actually have a man help me. And I think that's going to help you understand that existential question, Kara, when you can understand that you're valuable enough to not have to do it all on your own. So I'll let you just contemplate that for a while. Hope that was helpful. And then DL said, humans are humans, not cookie cutter men and cookie cutter women. Galatians 3:28, there is no male nor female, for you all are one in Christ Jesus. So don't treat one different than the other. Yeah, I love that you brought up the Bible, DL, because some of my favorite passages on polarity are in the Bible. So for example, husbands, love your wives as you love yourselves. And the other verse, which is, women, respect your husbands. And I'll pull up the actual verses here because I want to start bringing those up more. Husbands, love your wives. So there's a lot the Bible actually does have to speak around the difference between men and women in relationships. I think this passage is speaking more to the soul and the spiritual journey that we're on, which is true. We all are humans. We all have equal souls in the eyes of the Lord, that we're equally valuable, that we can be saved. And we are also human, and humans, there are differences. And Adam and Eve we'll probably agree, were quite different, and they had quite different roles in the beginning. And Eve was actually given to Eve was given to Adam as a gift because man is not meant to be alone, and men should be with a partner. Men are happier when they have a partner in their lives. That's what I said. Men want to be needed. Men want to be valuable. They want to have somebody that they can help and contribute to. So it's very important that you understand the differences in those roles, that men have a desire to give and to be of purpose in a relationship and not just simply to do life by themselves. And husbands have a purpose to love their wives and to adore and cherish their wives. And wives, so that's the verse, is husbands love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself unto it. So basically, husbands, love your wives. And then the other verse was, wives, respect your husbands. Let me pull it up. Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit to your husbands. There's other translations that says, wives, respect your husbands as to the Lord. For a husband is the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the church. Like I talked about, masculine energy is the logic. It is the thinking, but it's also, that's part of the leadership, is like, let your man make those decisions. Let him lead, trust him in that. If he's not doing a good job, speak up to that. And so there's a lot of ancient wisdom that talks about actually a lot of what we're talking about here. And so we don't need to go into all the different scriptures. I mean, we can in a different video, but there's a lot of human knowledge that has been condensed in especially the Bible that is around these principles too. And so just to know that this isn't anything new. And actually what we're doing here is we're going back to some of our roots, some of the roots that we have as men and women from the masculine instinct, the feminine instinct that's built into us, how we can create better relationships, how we can create that passion, create that spark and bring it back. So hope that was helpful. Just some different thoughts on that. And I probably will do another training that's deeper on some of those principles as well, because it's very powerful. Someone said, thank you for sharing. I mean, no disrespect in any way. Yeah, no worries. Kara was talking about the selection conversation. So I'm glad that was helpful. Mount Game said, the man that intimidating insists on communicating via Facebook Messenger, which feels vague, empty communication. I've asked him if he would call me versus messaging. I've requested this several times. He hasn't. So ultimately, the only gauge I look towards if a man is worth continuing to interact with or not is he showing care for your heart, or is he not showing care for your heart? This helps simplify it for you, because there's so many justifications we can get into and making excuses for a man for why he's behaving a certain way or not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. Is he showing care or is he not showing care? And for me, if a man isn't even willing to get on the phone with you when you ask respectfully for a phone call, so I don't know exactly how you asked for a phone call. Hopefully you weren't telling him to call you or telling him what to do. But if you asked respectfully and said, may I ask for a phone call? Or may I ask if we can talk on the phone? Or if you had a little fluff around it, such as saying, I'd love to hear your voice and connect with you since we haven't spoke for a while. Is it okay if we talk on the phone sometime this week? So that's another example of asking respectfully for what you want, using magnetic feminine communication, a piece of it. And if a man doesn't say yes to that, that's not a good sign. That's a sign he's clearly not showing care for your heart. And if it was me, if a man isn't even willing to get on the phone, I would move on. Because for me, that's a sign of a man who just simply doesn't have care for your heart, either because he's a broken man or because he just doesn't care about you enough. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The fact is he can't give you what you want. He can't show care for your heart. Now, if you use our Magnetic Feminine 90-day challenge, and if you really care about this guy, you give it a period of time, for example, 90 days, you could do a little bit less. If it's a newer relationship, you could do 60 days, or you could do it as a 30-day challenge. You give it a period of time where you're using what we teach you and what we'll give you as far as magnetic feminine communication and the principles, the advanced principles of feminine polarity. And if then he doesn't shift towards showing care for you, which I would be surprised by. But if he still doesn't show care for you after that period of time, then you can move on, keeping your head held high, knowing you did whatever you could. You did everything you could, and that you know that he's clearly not the man for you. He's a broken man, or he doesn't have care. Either way, you have to move on to value yourself. And there are other things you can do. So I'm not saying to completely walk away. I'm just saying if it was me, I would walk away. But there are a lot of things you can do, which we help a lot of our clients with, such as, for example, we have a 7-word relationship revival text message. You can send it over Facebook that could activate him back, and it often will activate him back to start engaging with you again. It works especially well if a man has ghosted you or broken up with you or is not talking to you anymore. And it could get him to re-engage and then hopefully get on the phone with you, because that's the ultimate time when a relationship will move forward, is when you can at least get on the phone with a guy, or if you can talk in person, because then you could use everything that we'll teach you around magnetic feminine communication and really create a great connection with him, a great activation of polarity that can happen, where he starts to want to be your hero and want to show care for your heart because of you being vulnerable and respectful and all the other principles activated within that conversation that will help you with. Now, you could also simply have the conversation over Messenger. You can use feminine communication over Messenger as well. It's not ideal, but you can make sometimes some headway during that process of using text as well and having those deeper conversations. But it's harder because he can't really feel your heart as much. He's just reading letters on a screen. He can't really feel your energy. He can't get your voice tonality. He can't feel your soul. And so he can't be activated as much into his masculine. But there are ways to do that, even over Messenger. So I wouldn't totally give up. And it just depends really on how much you really want to give this relationship a shot. But we can help you with that. So Melanie said, I'm a widow and had a 4-year relationship that I ended 6 months ago. How can I get a man to know? Your message might have got cut off. Feel free to post it again, Melanie. Sorry, something got cut off there. I don't understand the question yet. And hopefully we can still help you. So the next question we had here is someone else. Kel said, drop him, empty games, you deserve better. Yeah. So, it depends on how much you really care about him and how much there's a history there. And, but likely we don't know what's going to happen. We have very advanced principles that we'll give you and communication you can use that'll hopefully shift him. But if that doesn't, then I would say clearly you need to move on. Okay, Melanie said, here's the other part of the question. Do I tell the man that I am high value and I want him and he should select me? No, I wouldn't tell him that. The reason why is because feminine energy is about being, masculine energy is about doing. So rather than doing that, telling him those things, it's more powerful if you can simply be that. Be high value. Rather than telling a man, I'm high value, just be high value, which means connecting to your feminine core and embracing the behaviors of a high value woman, which are inside of you, because every woman has a feminine core inside. And if you connect to your feminine core, you will start becoming more high value. The more you can connect to your feminine core, the more high value you will become. There are other components to that as well. And in fact, in our Magnetic Feminine Polarity course, our second module is called What Do Men Want? And I go very deep in that module into very specific details on what is a high value woman, what actually makes a high value woman. There are many components of that. The mindset is a big piece. The feminine energy is a big piece. And then the actions and behaviors are a big piece. And I go into those specifically. But a big part of it is being it rather than saying it or doing it whenever you can. And you don't need to also tell a man that you want him. Tell him, it's better if you tell him what you want him to do for you. So what you want him to do, which would be asking politely. So you're not telling him what to do, but you're asking for what you want. That's better than saying that you want him, is asking for what you want. So ask him for a phone call. Ask him if he can meet in person. Ask him if you can share something with him. Ask him if you can share a feeling with him. Ask him about his opinion on things. Ask him for help with something. Ask him for his thoughts. These are all ways that you can help a man to feel that he can be valuable to you. That's going to be more powerful than you showing him that you value him, is showing him all the ways that he can be of value to you, that he has a purpose with you, that he has a meaning with you, and that he can be your hero, that there's things he can do for you to help you, to make you happy, and that you appreciate him for those things. And now he's going to naturally want to be with you because he feels valued. And then he's naturally going to want to select you. So that's more of what I would recommend in that direction. That'll start pointing you in a better direction, Melanie, to actually have him giving you all the desires of your heart and being the man you want him to be for you, because you're activating his masculine core. Nina said, I have a long-term relationship that lasted over 7 months. I don't know why these messages seem like they're getting cut off for some reason. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with that, or if you just forget to finish it. And then Maria said, can a man like you but prioritize his career? I stepped back, space for me and for him, love from Brazil. Yes, a man can still care about you a lot and still prioritize his career, mostly because he wants to be connected to his masculine core. And if he knows that if he loses too much connection with his purpose in his career, he's not going to be as strong a man for you, because he's going to become depleted in his masculine energy. Because men get filled up by their mission, by their purpose, by what they're doing in the world. And if they're not able to do that, their cup's going to start draining, just like you get filled up by feeling loved and adored by him and getting his attention and getting his care and devotion. So they're different in that way, and different energies have different needs. But if you give him the space to get his cup filled, just like he can give you space to do self-care and be around girlfriends, hopefully, and take care of yourself in different ways, that your cup can be filled, which you should be, by the way, taking care of yourself. That's feminine energy. And so that he can be a better man for you in the relationship. He can give more to you. He can be more attentive, and you're both going to feel better. You're both going to feel happier because of that. Now, of course, if you're feeling like he's not giving any attention to you, he's not meeting your needs, especially when you're using what we'll teach you with feminine communication and asking for what your desires are respectfully, and he's not giving those to you, and he's not caring for you, and you've shared your problems, that's a different issue. And now you have to really ramp up the polarity and using that proper communication to share your heart, share your desires with him, so that he can understand and then want to help you, want to make things better from that place. That's going to be a better way to go. If he's not showing you that care and devotion, and he's only prioritizing his career. So those are two different problems, but they can be related depending on if a man is completely ignoring you or completely setting you aside in relation to his career. That's a bigger problem. So that's all we have time for tonight. I see a lot more questions here, and love as well. So welcome, Kara. Glad that was helpful. Thank you, Blair. Appreciate that. Christy said God gave men and women very different roles. True. And Mount Game said thank you. So yes, there's a lot of things here. Again, hope this was helpful. If you want to go deeper, highly recommend, again, taking the free quiz on masculine and feminine polarity. And we'll talk to you again very soon. Oh, click the link in the description or comments below to get that, or go to magnetizeyourman.com again for these advanced principles. Hope this was helpful. Sending you much love, and I'll talk to you again in the next trainings very soon. Bye-bye.